Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be discussing about the lead code question, and then we are going to read the question. From reading the question we are going to derive the brute force solution, and then from brute force solution we are going to convert it into optimized solution. So let's go through the question. So we are given an array of nums, and then we need to return the answer such that answer I is equal to the product of all the elements except nums of I, and then at last we are going to return the answer, and then it should be done in big O of n. So let's write the brute force solution. For the brute force solution, so the question is given that we need to find the multiply of answer. This is going to be answer of I, which will contain all the elements but not the current element. Suppose let's take this particular example. So for one, it is going to be it is going to consider 2 comma 3 comma 4, and then for 2 it is going to consider 1 comma 3 comma 4. So if we see this particular loop, we are going to consider each index for the element present in the array, and then we are going to traverse all the elements except this particular element, and then we are going to multiply the answer, and then we are going to store the answer. For this we need to take I index. This is going to be big O of n, and then again we are going to take j, and then if I not equal to j, then we are going to say we are going to multiply the answer. So answer is going to be answer into nums of j. So this is going to be the answer, and then at last we are going to say we are appending it to the answer. So it is going to be like this. So we are just adding it to the answer, and then we are setting here answer is going to be 1. So this is going to give us the answer. Suppose let's take the time complexity. We are going through all the indexes which is present in the array. So it is going to be big O of n, and then again we are going to consider big O of n. So it is going to be big O of n square. So we need to reduce this time complexity for this. Suppose let's say for this particular nums of 1, like this particular one, we need this particular multiplication, and then for this 2 we need this multiplication as well as this multiplication. So let us see that if we want here, whenever we want to get from here to here, we can calculate the multiplication by using multiplication of previous element. So that we are going to store. But what about the other case? Suppose we want this particular multiplication. That means we need to store this multiplication in some array such that whenever we get here, we are going to say whatever the multiplication of next index, that is what we are going to consider, and then whatever the multiplication of previous element that we are going to consider. That means whenever we come here, we are going to say previous will be there. We will be initializing it to previous equal to 1, and then whenever we are coming here, we are going to consider the multiplication of answer is going to be previous, and then nums of the multiply of I plus 1. Why? Because we need the multiplication of all the elements which are to the right. This will store all the multiplication of elements which are to the right. Suppose for this it is going to be 4, and then for this it is going to be 12, and then for this it is going to be 24 for this, and then again this is going to be 24. Why? Because we are multiplying again and again. So let's go through the code. Suppose we'll take n equal to nums dot size, and then we are declaring this will be the answer, and then at last we are going to say the v of n will be 1, such that it will contain whenever we are at the end of the nums array, we are going to consider 1 as our right multiplication, and then whatever the previous multiplication is there, we are going to multiply these two to get the answer of this particular element. So if we see this array, we are going to consider the multiplication of next whatever the right multiplication is present, and then current multiplication. So after multiplying all of these things, we are going to keep it into the v of I, and then this will contain all the multiplications, and then we'll go through each element which is present in the array. That means we are going to consider 1 2 3 in the sequence, and then whenever we have previous, so we are in the current element, we do not want to multiply this particular element. That means we need to multiply previous all elements and then write all elements. So that we are going write all elements is going to be given by v of I plus 1. Why? Because it is going to consider all the elements which are to the right, and then previous will have all the previous multiplication of elements. So we are going to multiply these two, and then we are going to keep it into the answer. And then at last, whenever we are moving from here to here, the previous will become previous as well as multiplication with the nums. So that we are going to consider, and then at last we are going to remove this v of n such that it will contain only from 0 to n minus 1, and then at last we are going to return the answer. Yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching the video.